What is up, everyone? Today, I'm here with a new video because I actually encountered a little friend, with my grandmother today while we were doing a little cleaning. Um, if you've ever seen those videos of those big fucking moths, that's, what I came across. So, for an example, this is kind of similar to what I saw, but not exactly it. And moths like these are really rare, especially these ones. They're really cool looking. They have like fur on their body. It's really cool. They say they're cute too. They look like sea bunnies. Um, so I'm actually gonna look through my photos on my phone because I'm going to try to edit two videos into one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to like change how they look. So I'm going to edit the photo if I can. Doesn't look like I can, so I'm just going to upload them. And I'll make edits to them now. But or whenever they upload to Google Drive, whatever. But I guess until that happens, we're going to get to it. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to 3D model moths just for fun. Nothing too crazy. This will kind of be like an experiment to test out my ability to 3D model, and we're going to try to get down every detail. While the moth that I seen didn't exactly have antennas like this, it is kind of unique to see moths vary. Like this would be more accurate to what I saw. Let's try this. We'll do this. Let's see if we can get a good image like this. We'll download that, in fact. Here we go. And now we have that. So, HD detail, this is what we're going to try to create. We're going to go into Blender. Now, you'll see me working, but I won't see OBS open. So, in an addition, if I get these animals, like, working and whatnot, what I'll do is I will attempt to maybe utilize them in future games. I don't know how that will go, but that's a possibility of something that I might do. So keep in mind, this is something that I've been doing, was working with Blender. I've been trying to, like, you know, really work with Blender, and I made an announcement on my official what's it called? My official Roblox account on Twitter that I am not going to be what's it called? I'm not going to be making any more updates until I'm done figuring out what I need to do, cuz right now really I should be looking at what's it called? I can't think of its name. I really can't think of its name. Really, I should be looking at like how to make my own Blender plugin. But yeah, that can wait because I've done that all day. So we're gonna do something else productive. Good stuff. All right. So like I said, while that's uploading, we're gonna try to 3D model a moth. So first of all, cut the model in half. Simple, quick, easy. If you didn't know, I'm actually in the process of making my own plugin. So how this works is if you add a smooth corrective, it will TP the cursor to that position. So while you might see that that's where it is right now, like if we set the pivot to cursor, you'll see it there. However, whenever you have it set to the medium point and you have everything on, that's where it would be located. However, you want to set it to there and that, so that way you can click a button and it'll teleport the cursor to that selected item. Now, I'm attempting to make edits to this plugin because, like, this plugin was designed by me, but it was generated by ChatGPT. So I can't claim that I've really done anything for this. ChatGPT gets a lot of the credit for this. However, I will be taking credit for the configuration and edits done because I screw around with Python a lot. Like, for an example, if you want a coding example, not that anyone cares, but if I had to do like NV equals 0, and then, I don't know, like time equals 200, and we want to do, oh, whoops, I fucked it up, I think. Hold on. So NV equals 0, time equals 0, while true, NV plus 1. If, you know what, nah, print NV. If NV is higher than time, then print testing finished. So this is just an example of code that can be done with Python. I only know how to do this because I screw around with Roblox Studio and I do scripting my own. I'm also teaching myself more about Python because apparently the while true argument does not really work well with Blender because I've tried and it just does not. So, as an example, there's that. It looks okay. So, if I do this, it would start printing out like test finished repeatedly, but that's really quick, and I don't think that's right either, but that's just an example of code. It wasn't meant to be perfect. It wasn't really meant to be right either. It was just an execution example. But yeah, we're going to disable this tool so we don't bug anything, and we're not even ready for all that. So for this, what I'm going to do, we're going to try to get like the base of the head running. So let's say we add the smooth corrective now. And we want to make like the base of the body. Something like this, maybe. So this could be like the base of the entire body, just like that. Now, this will kind of like shrink. Like up here's a little bit thicker than the rest of the body, isn't it? In some way. Oh, whoops. Yeah, so maybe something like this, and we can kind of smoothen that out. So maybe like up here will be a little bit thicker than the rest of the upper part of the head. So to keep it still, let's add a mirror and position it however we need it to be. Well, I didn't want to pin the boundaries like that. Okay, there we go. So you can see the entire model comes together like this, and we can kind of shrink it down to fit how we need it to look. So let's kind of like take down here and just stretch it out enough so that way the base of the upper body kind of folds toward like the back here. We can do the same thing and infer that the back end is a little bit like smaller than the rest of the body. Just like this. And what we can do now is delete that because we don't need those little bits anymore. And you can kind of see we have a base look for like the upper part. So if we had to look at it from the upside, same thing for here. You could see starting from like right here, it kind of shrinks to this weird little oval spot here, and this would be where the wings kind of set. So if we wanted to do the legs, I'll show you guys how to do that as well. And I guess think of this video, well, this like little series I guess I'm doing. You know what? To hell with it. We're going to make this an entire YouTube playlist. And if you guys are interested in seeing me work, if you're interested in learning anything new from me, well, I'm also learning. That's up to you guys. However, off camera, I'm going to be learning stuff on my own as well. And information I gather, I will share with you guys as well. So think of me as the benefactor in supplying information to you so you guys can learn how to use Blender. I already know so much about it. However, the way I do things is not going to be the same to how your Blender works because I have custom keybinds. I have like 2 keyboards for this. No, they're not entire keyboards. One is a full keyboard. The other is like a 2x6 like key thing, and I have it plugged into my keyboard just so that way I have more keys. Like technically, we're supposed to have F keys 1 through. Let me check because this was something online that I found out as well. You'll see it here. We're supposed to have F keys 1 through 24, believe it or not. And you can see every time I click a button, these light up. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. These keys are all this way because I have other things bound to this in Blender. So for an example, like here, if I click, let's do this. You'll see me click like, oh, whoops. I didn't want to do all that. Okay, hold on. Something ain't right here. I have a thing that's supposed to like map stuff. Okay, so that's what that's set to. I don't like that. We're gonna change that. We're gonna set this to the plus again, the Control Shift plus, and leave it that way. Hopefully it stays that way. All right, so anyway, if I click F23, it changes it to the normal shading, and if I click F24, it changes it back. So that's just kind of how this works for me. That's the device I use. I could like click this and do stuff, but I'm not going to. But yeah, that's just how that works for me. We can also smoothen this out however we want, resize it to however we need it. And I suppose we can kind of like, you know, smoothen it out a little bit more. So that way it's like flat. Yeah, just like that. All right, the videos are done uploading, so I'm going to do that while I'm like interacting with Blender. So let's see. Sure, why not? I'll upload this to Wondersoul Studios. And then I can, oh. Some videos failed to upload a drive. That's just mean. Okay, I'll have to do that another time. Because I'm not in the mood for that kind of nonsense. I don't get how it says we're uploading videos and then it's like, oh, there was a problem. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah. Maybe something like that would be okay. So, for this image, we need to find like a butt on something like that. So let's say Well, that's not right. Okay, there we go. So let's say we find like an image with a, yeah, there we go, like a tail. So here we go. This would be a valid look of a moth. Oh, why is it sponsored? I don't really care about all that. We gotta find like a good moth too. Yeah, just like that. Something like this. These guys are always so thick, bro. Like, they're thick in the back. Why? They're just so big and it's really crazy. Okay, this is more accurate to what I saw. And these are like really pretty too. So we're gonna try to do that. So let's download this image and use that as a reference. So with that, he's already got like the base working for him right now. We can even delete some parts like that because he has a little bit of like stuff going on there. And we could solidify this later however we please. So let's say we wanted to get the head on this too. We would kind of like go into here. And something we can do if we want to keep this like a singular model is this. So let's say we take this, we fix that, and we kind of just like drag this to be as large as we need it to be for like the head. And we can kind of connect it to the body like this. Expand its size however we please. Moth heads shouldn't be that bad to do, in my personal opinion. A little bit bigger of a head. Maybe something like this would do. Yeah, there we go. So let's go ahead and shrink it down. Oh, we need to turn off clipping. That's my fault. There we go. With clipping off, we can fix stuff like that. In fact, let's do this because that might make it easier on us. Or actually, wait, we'll just select that. There we go. All right, so we can kind of resize the head to be however we need it to be in order to accomplish this little project that we're doing. So you can see this is like the entire model right now. The head isn't really that great looking, but if we want to like fix that, let's say we select these parts and we just kind of drag it back a little as far as we need it to go until it reaches that look. So this would be more accurate. And if we want, if you're unaware of this, you can add a subsurface or a subdivision. That's not what it said in here. It says subdivision surface. But, oh wait, let me see. Oh no, it does say that, subdivision surface. But you can just call it a subdivide or whatever. But this would make the model look overall more like flexible in that sense. But since we're not screwing around with it and we're not trying to increase render, we can turn that off for now up until we're done. So there's this. If we wanted to make eyes, we could. Like, let's say maybe an eye here. Kind of looks goofy, don't you think? It's kind of hard to make models that look really nice for people, you know? They're not god awful, but it takes time to like get an understanding of what you're looking for as an end result. So this would kind of work just like that. We'll use that for now. They do kind of have like a tippish nose. So maybe a little bit more like this or something like that. Yeah. And we can do this and it's kind of like set that to be, they do kind of have big eyes, but we can do this and kind of shrink it down however we want because we can subdivide it and it'll still lead up to here and it'll cut off there. So Yeah, that doesn't look too god-awful for now, but we're going to leave it. So working on the rest of the body, let's pull up the other image. If we want to add wings to the creature, or maybe like the tail, here's something we can do. We can copy all of that and just drag it back wherever we need it. Let's see. This is kind of a unique way of modeling. This is what I do for it anyway. You guys probably won't follow what I do because this is more complicated in other people's eyes. However, this is more effective for me personally. Not everyone's going to 3D model the same. The way people model stuff will always be different. So we can kind of connect these again. And we'll try to make this like the ass end of the creature. So how to do this, we're going to turn on clipping and just resize it until it just barely reaches this point. And they do kind of have like a big butt in that sense. You know what I mean? Like this is what you would see visually. However, it kind of like shrinks, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of goofy. Let's see. Similar to this or any other moth. Like here, let's find a good one. We might find a good image of a moth. I don't get how people are not scared of that. It might step on your eye or something like that. Okay, this might be a good one. Like, here's the butt of a moth, but that's with his wings extended upward enough to where you can visually see that. So we can copy that and kind of use that as a reference too. So here, if you want to see that, we can kind of like zoom in. You can get a good view of what these guys look like. These guys are really freaking big, but also really pretty. So this is kind of like the base. If we want to have eyes, here's something we can do. We can add more vertices if we must. Actually, no, we don't. We don't have to do that. That's why this is here. I don't know why it's doing that, though. Yeah, that ain't right. Okay, well, either way, we can add more vertices if we want, like this. Kind of get the head in proportion, you know? So we can do this as much as we need until we get the head into the proportion it has to be in, or however we want it to be in. It doesn't exactly matter what it looks like exactly. Kind of looks a little derpy. There we go. Kind of like bring the eyes down. I guess we can leave it like that until we're done. So that would be the eyes, or something similar. Kind of bring this to wherever we want it to be. Again, don't need to be perfect. We can tweak it later. All right. Kind of push that in a little. There we go. So you can kind of see the result coming in a little bit. I don't like how many vertices can be here. Oh, wait, there we go. That looks a lot better, actually. We can live with that. I guess that does really work in our favor because it creates that circle, you know what I mean? Like, something's on my foot and it's kind of pissing me off. So there's that. So this is what it would look like if it was cut in half. However, this is like the complete model right here. So with that, this is kind of like the base. So we're gonna leave that off though. So if we want to like make this a little smoother in some sense, let's say, I mean, we're kind of working on the butt right now, so let's try this. We're gonna like expand this as best as we can without like destroying the model result. Something a little wide, but not too wide, you know. Something like this. Yeah, there we go. That kind of works in our favor like that. I guess they don't really have that much on their back there, do they? It kind of looks like that. Their wings do fold somewhere within here though to keep to the side. Something like this. So, there's that. If we wanted to do the wings early, we could, but we're gonna like try to make these separate pieces for now. So until then, let's separate the wing and delete anything that wouldn't be relevant to this for now. And we would kind of position the wings where we want them to be on the inside. So the wings kind of like sit on their back. They have like a shoulder or something running. So maybe a little soft plumage here would be just fine. So something similar to like this. My phone keeps vibrating. It's from Discord. It is funny. The moth I had did look like a wood chip, though. Mm-hmm. Here, I'm gonna show my friend the picture. So, let's see. There's that image. Their wings kind of like bend. What the hell? Ugh. I'm like choking, and it's weird. All right, so their wings are kind of like spread out. Um, gotta just work with the top perspective for now. Maybe something like this. The wings kind of like spread out like this, and that's what I want to aim for. So let's try that. Wings kind of go out up until, I guess it kind of covers the back end. So their wings are like pretty freaking huge. Holy moly. One moment. Yeah. Yeah. All right, I'm back. So back to the moth. This is what we got. The wings should kind of like stick up, I guess. So this is sort of how this should look. Or something similar anyway. Here we go. So we can kind of infer this is what the wings on a moth would look like. Something similar to this anyway. So you could kind of see it starting to come together. However, we kind of gotta stitch it all together now. So for an example, in stitching, you would select the faces that you want to stitch like this, and it kind of all just comes together like that. This is what I was told stitching is like selecting your vertices and combining them. There we go. Yeah, that'll come together, I do think. Yeah, that came together real nicely. So yeah, you can see how it's sort of supposed to look. So we can add a smooth corrective to this too and set it how we need it to be. However, we want to pin the boundaries so that way we can still like morph it however we need. So we could kind of like raise the wings up just a little and select as many of the faces as we need to get it in position. And you can kind of see it starting to come together. Like there's the back end right here. However, the wings don't really like go over that back end, I don't think. Like, well, I guess we could take a look at the moths and see. Yeah, no, it doesn't really go on to the back like that. And instead, they kind of they like dip down and they fold. So for an example, we're kind of looking at the wings like this. But if we want to like get them to look really good, let's try to like dip the wings down however we need. We could kind of do some like refinements here and there. There we go. Kind of wiggle it. That's one way to like smoothen out the like vertices. So for the back, we're gonna try to like cut the wings in a really weird way. So we're gonna like do this, and we're going to remove these vertices. Or vertices, I don't know why I said it like the way I did, like it was some kind of disease. There we go. And we're gonna try to change it up so that way it, you know, realigns. So doing this would create a new face, and these kind of overlap with each other, which is fine. So you can kind of see how this is starting to want to come together. However, we should probably do it here as well and create a new face just like that. It'll loop. That's not too god awful, but you know, I mean, we don't have to let it loop like that. We could try to fix it, but we're not going to get straight to that immediately. So the wing kind of folds inward just like this. We're going to make that part of the body disappear. And we're going to drag the vertices wherever we need them to be to get the wing to fold in these directions. The wings kind of look like a shoulder on a moth as well. So maybe we select this and try to drag it back without disrupting the mesh or the geometry. So kind of like this. Just a little bit, nothing too intense. And you can kind of see how it's starting to come together really good. So another way we can fix this, we see the vertices coming together like this. However, what we can do is we could try to redirect these two to come together. However, this will no longer be a valid like set of vertices, so we'd have to remove those. However, these will all stay the same. These will all create like a single wing piece. But something we can do is this. Take these and kind of create like a little square here. Kind of like this. Can delete that. It's a little hard because sometimes you have to like really look at the mesh in order to get it to like format in a way you want it to. So let's say we removed all of that. And if we did something like this, it would come together just like that, and it wouldn't loop anymore. Yeah, it would be set then. So if we really had to, we could probably remove those vertices and realign these to where we need them to be. So let's go ahead and change this to vertex and drop these vertices down. Or better yet, we could delete all of these for now. Not permanent. Make that its own face, and we'll kind of bring it together slowly. You can kind of see what I'm trying to do here. So there we go. It's all starting to like smoothen out and get to where we need it to be. We'll have to push that up a little bit. So there. This is all creating a smooth pattern now. It's all coming together. Those will end in the same positions. We might have to like fix the look, so maybe we'll get rid of those vertices and try to like finish it up. So this is what we got. The vertices do come together half decently, but you can see why this doesn't take me very long is because I'm a little efficient with catching things that could look neater. And recently, while I've been 3D modeling, like this is a new trick I literally just learned. If you want to like smoothen stuff out, you just wiggle it around a little bit. Just like this. And it'll kind of like fit in on its own, kind of like that. So if we re-add this, this is what we would get. But we want to like keep this as flat as possible. So the boundaries are now flattened, which is good. We want them to be flat like that. So let's try to like resize this to kind of go over on the wings here like this. So if we rotate these a little bit, we're actually going to turn off merge. But if you rotate these a little, you can kind of see that we got a little bit of a thing going on here. So let's say we wanted to like pull these back. Just a little, nothing too crazy. Just like that. There we go. So it's starting to come together a little bit. Kind of want to try to keep this shoulder look though. It kind of looks more like a beetle for some reason. So there's that. I guess an easier way we could have done this. Honestly, let's redo this. Let's just redo this. So let's just create a new cube. Split it in half. And take that out. And instead, we're going to try to like create the outline of the wing instead. So it kind of starts off here. And then it like progressively goes. So let's add the smooth corrective and add the vertices where we may. And position this kind of right there. We do want to pin the boundaries though. So now, yeah, that doesn't look too bad. So we can apply this now and delete these. And then what we can do is extrude the faces to wherever we need them. So don't forget, the whole mesh will come together slowly. So the back fluff should still be there while we're doing this. Let's kind of try to like position this better. Turn off clipping for now. There, that looks a little bit nicer. So now if we're going to make the wing, we're going to add the smooth corrective and pin the boundaries again. So the wing kind of like comes out this way and it like rotates slightly. And it kind of does something like this. Something similar anyway. And later on it does like get thicker, I guess. So let's try this. I've never done what I'm doing right now, so let's find the face orientation. So you could see a few of these faces aren't right, so we're gonna like select these two faces and flip them. And we can select these faces and flip them as well. And just like that, we got a normal working face again. And the flow of the mesh still flows. However, we don't want that to be right there, so we're gonna delete those faces. And instead, we can do something like this. Let's create like two new faces and extrude these as best as we can. Here we'll have to do maybe that for now. Poke like tiny holes. So how about this? We're gonna create a new vertice group and we're gonna call it smoothening for now. And we're gonna put it in here. What we'll do is we're going to remove these vertices from that list and position this however we have to in order to get it in a smooth spot. Alternatively, we could do this. And then just drop it down to wherever we want to position it. And you can kind of see it starting to come a little together. If we wanted to, we could remove that as well and combine those vertices, but we can do that later down the line. So there's that. Let's try to like push these in so it still comes together as a whole mesh. So yeah, they have like two pairs of wings that connect here. So there's that. So let's say we want to like finish outlining the wing. Can always do that. And there we go. So you can kind of see it starting to like work in that sense. Like the geometry sort of works together. This is really goofy looking. There we go. So the wings kind of come together like that in segments. So we can delete those two as well and kind of push that back. So there's like an entire wing right here. So if we want to like make this more accurate, let's try to find a good underbelly view of a moth. So what could we do to find like an underbelly? I guess we could always look at YouTube for that. The marvelous YouTube. Oh yeah, did I ever save this? Whoops. Yeah, I saved it. So. Did they like 3D model to pop it?
I really missed you all, my friends. Wish it didn't have to end. Great to see you
It actually doesn't look bad. But anyway. What's it called? What the?
Lava, chicken. Steve lava chicken, yes, this is it.
Alright, so anyway, staying on topic. Giant moth as pet. We could kind of do the feet. They're really cool looking though, in all the different colors, you know. So let's say we did the feet now. Oh, it's lagging. Why? Why? Why is it doing that? What is this? This isn't normal. Like, excuse you. Copy error. This isn't helping. What is going on? Why? Why is my stream lagging? You guys don't see it, but my video is like dying. Okay, I fixed it. I don't know what happened. My video just said, fuck you, and it started to crash out. So, we fixed it. We're gonna try to download this at, like, the highest quality we can. But we could probably, like, you know, let's work on the legs instead. So, there's that. To do the legs. How would we do the legs? How would we do the legs? I mean, we could try something like this. It's looking more like a freaking turtle. So the legs kind of like come together on the underside in a way. Let's try to like do this. Like maybe let's delete those and try to like position them. So, normal. There we go. The feet should come together like this. You know what I'm saying? Like something like this. Cuff to cuff. something like this. Yeah, the feet kind of come together like this in a sense. So something we can do is we can work on that later, the feet. However, that's kind of like that. So that's kind of like the burly body, you know? Their body kind of like comes together up here in some way. Kind of bring these up a little. Oh, goodness. Sorry for the jump scare. Let's try to make the antennas. It's a little bit something like this anyway. Antennas shouldn't be this thick though, you know what I mean? That's more like it. Looks more accurate. All right. So if we wanted to, we could probably like really stitch the legs together right now. I guess this all sort of like comes together up here. That's interesting. The whole torso, like all of that just comes together up here. So in all honesty, we could probably like select that entire element. Well, maybe not, but we could try to like get it to come together however we want. So for an example, we could select this and turn this to connected only, and it will only move the connected like parts like that. There we go. So there's like the base of the body right here. We're going to try to like bring it up to size a little bit more if possible. Or that works too. I guess this is kind of natural. Like, look at how the underbelly comes together. It looks like a endoskeleton down there. That's really cool, you know? I'm like generally fascinated. So that's starting to come together real nicely. And we can kind of infer that the feet are not that big. They're kind of like smaller and cute looking, you know? Maybe like this. They sort of come together like that. So if we had to look at it, this is what the general mesh would look like, but this is what it would look like put together. And I didn't realize, but I guess this kind of comes together as like a coat. So we can like make these invisible and remove all that. And we can kind of like try to wrap this around the head instead, because I didn't realize it till I looked a little closer. This is like a hood up here, like that. You see how that looks? It's a little bit like a hoodie. So we're going to try to select the entire upper body here. As a matter of fact, let's select the entire body and create this and just call it smoothening. Smoothening. Smoothethong? Nah, smoothening. There we go. And we'd go to the smoothing corrective and set that up. And then we can just remove whatever we don't want smoothened. So we can kind of see it starting to come together as it should. So realizing that this is a kind of like a coat look is actually really cool. The fun part about this for me is knowing that I can get a end result that is really cool looking. So yeah, maybe something like that would be okay. Then we'll straighten these out. I don't know why that's all the way down there. There we go. Kind of get it to fit the body again. That feels a little too high, so we're going to bring it up. There we go. So you can kind of see it starting to look a little like little by little more like a moth. Why is it refusing to go to that vertice? It just doesn't like that vertice. Spike bug. Erectus insectus in a nutshell. There we go. There we go. So it's starting to come together and we still have the wings to do. But we kind of want to try to stitch the feet together. So here's what I'm going to propose. Let's try this. We're gonna try to like separate the feet and stitch it together however we can. A little bit like this. Put these together. There we go. So that entire foot is now, or part of the foot is now connected. And then we can smoothen that if we wanted. So that way it still gives like the bug vibe, you know. Their feet do have something similar like that. You probably want to like straighten this out somehow. Maybe something like that. Yeah, there we go. You know, however we see fit and whatever works the best. So we would lower this. Let's put 2 more holes down here. Connect it. And then stitch it together. And then just like that, the limbs have been assembled. We can even remove a few vertices because don't forget, we have the one thing that will make this like 10 times easier in the future. So yeah, we can kind of move this to like there. Then we can add the subdivision. You can kind of see it starts to put itself together in a similar way. Looks like little shoes, not gonna lie. Kind of goofy looking. There we go, we can raise that up. There we go. And there's the little feet, kind of put together. So let's select these and remove them. Oh god. We'll have to smoothen these out a little bit. Just to make it look great. Alright, there we go. There we go. There. It sort of comes together for like the head of a moth anyway. So we could kind of infer that this is a little bit what they look like. It kind of looks goofy. So anyway, we can select these. It looks like they have like 3 sets of legs. How interesting. So they kind of look like this, you know? Oh, dang, I didn't think I could probably add the legs just like that, too. Like, hold on, you'll see what I mean. So if I had to, like, separate the legs and attach them, like, here, hold on. Maybe like this, that would work. We'd have to add more vertices to, like, the underside here, though. Let's try that. It might turn out weird, but it might be okay. So let's select a spot like this, and then we'll stitch it together. There we go. So I guess this does work in our favor, like this, a little bit anyway. Yeah, there we go. I don't like how that looks, though. That may or may not have fixed it. I don't know. So yeah, it kind of comes together like that, in a sense. Hmm. So there's like a pair. I suppose we didn't have to do all that, did we? We probably didn't. We're just gonna delete all that and we'll fix that later. We'll just leave the feet as they are then. Well, now we gotta put the feet to be invisible. Invisible, invisible, invisible. And there we've repaired that as best to our abilities. Well, anyway, we tried, but that didn't work. So we'll have to stick to this. I'm gonna delete the faces and then rebuild them, so that way this probably like renders better. Yeah, that looks a little nicer. I do wonder if I can like try to build the face differently, you know? So for an example, the bug's anatomy kind of comes together like this. Wait. Something isn't right here. Okay, I do believe I fixed it. Might have fixed it. What the heck? So say all of a sudden this doesn't look great. And I guess rightfully so. So yeah, the back kind of looks similar to this. Some of them have like a thick end, you know, a little bit thicker. Well, I guess that'll be the end for this video because I've been recording for an hour. So thanks for watching. If you want to see more on this, let me know. I'm going to be doing videos for this anyways. So if you're interested, leave a like. It shows me that you guys care. And that's only if you want, obviously. If you guys care. And don't forget, I've made a promise with Minecraft still. Don't forget that if we hit a 100 player, or no, not 100 player, a 100 subscriber milestone, I will add a new mob for every like 50 subs I get. Sound fair to you guys? Every 50 subscribers, I will add a new mob to my own mod. So, for an example, like you've seen that I've started the Amethyst Horde. However, I'll have to start from scratch again from that. But regardless, the Amethyst Horde was posted on my YouTube channel not that long ago, and we had a skeleton and a creeper in the works. So if you guys still care about that, let me know, truly. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And guess what? Do you want to see something funny before you go? You know what? Wait. Watch this. We'll even enable this just for that. You want to know something? The bug is even saying bye. See you guys.